Israel says that it has destroyed part of Iran's nuclear program in the retaliatory strikes that it carried out across the country last month. The Israeli Prime Minister has confirmed this without giving any details, but a report from the Axios news site indicates that a nuclear weapons research facility making plastic explosives at the Parchin military complex was eliminated. Now, Iran has not commented on this report, but it comes as Iran's foreign ministry is slamming new sanctions by the European Union and also the United Kingdom against Tehran over its support for Russia's war on Ukraine. And joining us now is Behnam Taleblu. He's a senior fellow for the Foundation for Defense of Democracy. So, Behnam, what kind of damage has actually been inflicted on Iran's nuclear program from what we understand in these reports?
It's a pleasure to be with you. Well, there is no clear battle damage assessment from America or from Iran here, but what we know through satellite imagery, what we know about the history of Iran's past nuclear weaponization efforts, and what we know from recent news reports, and indeed the most recent Israeli confirmation, we can put together that Israel was able to both detect and destroy a facility, a nuclear site known as Taleghan 2, a site which was actually never inspected by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Conversely, Taleghan 1, a similar but not the same facility, was reportedly once inspected in 2015. And these sites, Taleghan 1 and Taleghan 2, were related to Iran's weaponization drive, some activities which scientists and reporters and policymakers believe continued into the present day. Many of which also were suspected to have been what Axios reported on in June and July of this year when they talked about computer modeling, explosive work, and metallurgy, all of which are basically covers for Iran creeping towards at least a weapons capability in the future. So this strike, which was part of Israel's larger retaliation against the Islamic Republic for Iran's large October 1st ballistic missile barrage, continues to prove to be more sophisticated with the passage of time, which includes news like this.
Right. Why is Israel commenting on this now, and how can we expect Iran to respond? Because obviously, you know, following the retaliatory attack, it was clear that there was some type of incentive to kind of de-escalate the situation by making it appear as though perhaps Iran hadn't been widely impacted by Israel's strikes.
Well, indeed, it was the Iranians filling the airwaves, not the Israelis, after October 26, when that retaliation happened. And in the first 12 to 24 hours, the Iranians were the ones trying to downplay the attack. But really, 24 to 48 hours and really into the present, you've had the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the supreme leader, a whole host of people in Iran talking about the need to respond. And amid that conversation about a potential Iranian retaliation to the Israeli retaliation, there have also been increased commentary throughout the month of October and November, significantly increased commentary about the regime flexing its nuclear option in the face of a conventional military defeat, a defeat that both its long-range strike capabilities and its terrorist proxies are running up hard against vis-a-vis the Israelis. So this potential rhetorical flexing on behalf of the Israelis and potentially even on behalf of the prime minister could be designed to check that.
Now, break down the new sanctions that we're seeing leveled against Iran regarding its involvement in Russia's war in Ukraine and what those implications ultimately will be for the Islamic Republic.
Well, I would bring folks' attention to both the UK and the EU broadening their sanctions due to Iran's deepening military cooperation with Russia, and specifically point to the Islamic Republic of Iran shipping company, RISL. Both the EU and the UK have designated this entity, basically putting it in the spotlights, doing an asset freeze on this actor, because this actor is basically using the Caspian Sea, which is the world's largest lake, to ship military components across that lake to the Russians. And while it's much harder to get sanctions enforcement like the Caspian Sea basin due to the host of bad actors that exist there, this at least shows a desire that the incoming U.S. administration, in my view, can and should build on. There is already, in my view, a multilateral predicate for maximum pressure. So come January 2025, when there's a change in Washington's Iran policy, the transatlantic gap that has existed previously can be bridged based on these very good moves by the EU and the UK.